Hi guys, we are going to practice finding the least common multiple. The least common multiple is the least number that is common multiple for two or more numbers. So there's two ways that we can go about finding them. The first way I'm going to practice with you guys is making a list or using a list. So for 5 and 10, I'll make a list for 5 first. So I write the 5, I write a colon, and I say 5 because 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so for right now, that's what I'm going to leave it at. Now I'm going to make my list for 10. So 10. So 10 times 1 is 10. I already see something in common, but I'm going to keep going. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 times 3 is 30. I'm going to stop there because I already saw the smallest or the least number that they have in common that is a multiple, which is 10 and 10. So my least common multiple would be 10. All right, so I'm going to practice this again for 3 and 8. So first, I'm going to start with 3. I like to start with my smallest number first. It always makes my life a little bit easier. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times, sorry guys, I have a stuffy nose. 3 times, what am I at? 3 times 8 is 24. And 3 times 9 is 27. All right, now I'm going to move on to 8 to my list for 8. So I always start with 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. I don't see anything in common quite yet. 8 times 3 is sorry guys, is 24. That is the first number I see in common, and it is the least number that I see in common. So that is my least common multiple, or my LCM. So 24. For 7, I'd like you to try on your own using the list method. So you start with the lowest number, 9, and you go 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, all the way up until you can find a common multiple. So you are going to type in what that least common multiple is using the list method. Now you're going to come back to number 8. We are going to use the prime factorization or the Venn diagram method. So you have to first write the prime factorization of each number. So when we get to the least or the prime factorization of each number, so we start with 8. So the prime factorization means you're getting it down to its lowest factors that cannot be divided into any other. Okay, so for 8, to get that down to its prime factorization, it is, because 8 is 4 times 2, 4 can be even simplified down to 2 times 2. So 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. Now we get to 10. 10 is the smallest way you can multiply to 10 is 5 times 2. So this is where we get into our Venn diagram, which is the two circles that intersect like that. I like to do it for 8 first and then for 10. So I try to look for what they have in common first. They both have a 2. So I put that 2 in the middle. Then I cross off the 2 right there so I know I already used it. Now for 8, there's still 2 2's left. So I write 2 and 2 in there. Now for 10, I know there's still 5 left, which means the equation I get at the bottom, which I need to solve, which would be 2 times 2, which I get the 2 2's from here and I multiply them. Then I add in this next 2 by multiplying it. Then I multiply it by the 5 that's over here. This will get you the lowest common multiple, or the least common multiple. So it's 2 times 2, which equals 4. 4 times 2, which is 8. And 8 times 5, which equals 40. So 40 would be our lowest or least common multiple. This is using the list method, the Venn diagram, or the prime factorization. So I'm going to go through for number 9 and do the prime factorization and Venn diagram method. On 10, you will complete this method by yourself and answer on our Edpuzzle or on our video. So for 6 is prime factorization, which would be 2 times 3, because 2 cannot be divided into anything else, and 3 cannot be divided into anything smaller. So then we get to 16. When I think of 16, I think of 4 times 4. But 4 and 4 can both be divided into a smaller number, which is 2 times 2. So for the first 4, it's 2 times 2, because that equals 4, times 2, times 2, because it's 4 times 4. So 4 times 4. Okay, so here we go again. We have to make those 2 circles. What numbers do they have in common? Well, they have 1. There's 1, 2 up here, and there's at least more than 1 here. But we compare. There's 1 and 1. So here's my 6. Here's my 16. The 2 is what goes in the middle, because that's what they have in common. I'm going to cross that off because we just used it. Now for 3, we only have 1 factorization left, for 6, we only have 1 factorization left, which is 3. Now for 16, we still have 3 more factorizations left, which can be put in here. So that would be 2, 2, and 2. That helps us come up with the multiplication list that we need to solve. So this would be 3, because I'm using it from here, times 2, times another 2, times 2, times 2. So 3 times 2 equals 6. 6 times 2 equals 12. 12 times 2 equals 24. 24 times 2 equals 48. So my least common multiple for 6 and 16 is 48. Now I'd like you to complete number 10 on your own using the prime factorization and Venn diagram method, which we have done for 8 and 9. Number 11 through 12 can be done, Number 11 through 13 can be done in any method you would like, either the list or the prime factorization. I'd like you to practice and see how you do.